Alright, so these are the stock 2012 Camry SE taillights. I'm going to be replacing them with, of course, a new one, which I think is much better looking. Something like that. Found on eBay. I'll let you know how it goes. So what we're going to start with is you have a clip right over here on top. You also have another clip right down here, if you can see that. And you also have one more clip right down there, which again is all the similar type of clips. And there's this one right here, which is like a push pin. So if we push that one in, we'll be able to pull it out. And I'll show you how that looks when we pop all four of those. So this you could just stick in a regular flathead and you pop it right out. Same thing, you could just push really hard on the inside of this one. Then you'll hear it click. There we go. And then we pull it right out. Same thing, you have one, two more down there. And once these are popped, we pull this felt down and this little extra cover. Once we're able to pull this felt back after popping off those clips, you're going to see a few screws here. You got 1, 2, 3 down there, and the fourth one is hidden off this cap right here. So that just holds the wire for you. Gotta unscrew those four, and once we do that, that'll loosen up the light for you. And there's a couple more after that. Before we unscrew, we want to make sure we take off the electrical connections. So again, we already popped that up off the screw. That wasn't really connected. It was just clipped onto the other screw. But these guys are all just push pin. So pull that in. Pull that out. And then one last one here. Pull that right out. There we go. After you get those 4 screws off the back of the taillight, there's this little cap right here where there's a little small insert. You just push your screwdriver in there, flathead, pop it right out for you. And there's gonna be another screw in there, same thing, 10mm by the way, for all around. So once you screw that out, that's where that is right there. Moving over to the side of the car, by the bumper, there's a screw that's under here that's holding on the bumper here. There's also gonna be a screw down here underneath the car that needs to come off, because eventually the bumper has to come off in order to get the tail light off, because the tail light actually has a little clip on it. So let me just show you what that looks like. This piece right here that the bumper clips onto, so that way it holds up your bumper. So same side of the vehicle. Once you get underneath, you're gonna see, hopefully, there's this screw, 10mm. Same thing, we're just gonna have to unscrew that. And then eventually, this guy right here has to come right off too from the bottom of the car. So once you get that corner screw that we unscrewed on the right hand side of the bumper, which is all the way down, down there-ish, there's going to be a couple more. You have this clip bumper right there, then you have this 1, 2, 3, actually sorry, 4 total. Same thing, 10mm screws, and then that last pop cap right here. This is pretty much the center of the vehicle, so once this comes off, you have to do the exact same stuff that we just did on the right-hand side of this vehicle, so that way you can get off the bumper and install your taillight. Once you have all the screws, 1, 2, cap back there, here, a couple of other, all that unscrewed on your car, especially even underneath here with the rest of those screws I was talking about, you basically have to pull the bumper off. And the way you do that is simply just by pulling on it right about here, because then it comes off the clips for you. So after a quick tug on the bumper itself, pull it back a little bit, it starts to loosen up everywhere. I'm just going to show you how it looks when you actually do it right. From this side, just pull on it, pops out, keep moving back a little bit. That's all we really need. And then of course everything else gets looser for you. And then eventually again under here is what it holds on to. So we want to make sure we get that off nicely under this light, so that way the bumper doesn't break and you can put it back on to the light clip. Once you have the bumper off, you literally just pop off the lights. Just like that. So These are the old taillights, and they still have these housings. The fittings looks like that we have to transfer over to the new set of taillights. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. You just turn them out. And again, just as if you were replacing the light bulb in these things, they turn right back into the pre-fitted socket slots. So once we've taken that out and put them into our new one, they fit actually exactly, of course. We have to put this little foam bushing on top of this so that way no water penetrates through when we screw it back on. So let me go ahead and do that. So now I'm gonna install this light into the spot. So the lights also come with the trunk part too, which is going to be fun because we're going to have to eventually tap into more than likely the same port that highlights this LED with the back of these LEDs, so it matches up. So there's a wire obviously that's in the back that it gives power to these, so we're going to probably have to tap into that. Alright, so next we have to take off this part of the tail light. So if you take a look over here, I already did one of the sides, but you have a couple, 1, 2, 3. If I want to take this one off too, that'd be the fourth one, of course. That makes it a little easier when you bend it back so that we can get to it. You have one screw here, 2 screws here. Unscrew them, same 10 millimeter. You know, unhook the light, just twist it right off, pop it right out, and put in the new fitment, which is going to be this one right here, of course. So I'll let you know how that looks in a second. Alright, so after installing the lights, again, pretty self-explanatory. You put in the bulb that we unlocked before, put it back in, and those green black wires I just fed basically behind here. Again, I don't know if you can see this, but again, just use some electrical tape. Same thing, fed it through back here, and eventually it's all going to get covered up. But we do have to tap into eventually the main power line. Now if you look at it really closely, this label back here says black to black, so that's going to be your power, your black to black. Black is usually always power anyways. So we need to make sure that we stuff, when this clip goes in, on the right hand side of it would be the black connection. So on the right hand side of this clip you're looking is the white. So the white's going to go to black, which is going to be that guy right there. And then green is simply going to go to green. So there's 3 slots. Again, you got the 1, 2, 3. So when we tap into this main line, we have to tap into the white and the green. But white black is going to go to black, and green's going to go right to green. So I'm going to cut it somewhere down here, tie it up, just so that way there's enough play. So that way this is tapped into the main power line, and then we plug it in here. It's all going to be unison with this LED light and this LED light, because that's where those cables go to, this light. The other one is just the bulb that's inside there. But again, this is what we're going to tap into. So the original green wire, like I mentioned, I cut. So that's top part of it, bottom half of it, and there's that green wire from the top of the taillights that we had to connect. So all 3 of them are now just together. The original white wire that I had to cut in half and then connect the black wire and tied them all together. Made it really tight with electrical tape, of course, just to make sure that it doesn't get loose. I'm probably not going to put it back in the corrugated part just for the mere fact that, 1, it's not going to fit, and secondly, I mean, it's going to be covered up with this padding. You have plenty of stuff to watch out for water not to drip in there and whatnot. But that way at least there's enough play in there too, just in case, so nothing gets too tight and gets loosened. If that were to happen, obviously then your connection's bad and you're not going to be able to have power to lights. So that's how it looks. Now we're just going to go ahead and put all this back to behind here, connect it all up, and it should be okay. Now, as you can see, like, I left some play here just for the mere fact it's all covered up, it's all back there, what we talked about in splicing the wires and connecting them. But again, that's for this main one up here, okay? What I want to do now is, because the other one obviously has wires, we can take this all the way over and connect them together too, so that way it's spliced power also. Because I was going to think about bringing it down here, but that doesn't really make any sense, because one, if I connect it to here, this wire that we're looking at actually goes all the way down past here and gets connected back to this light anyways. So I'm just going to swoop it right back up through here and splice these two, so that way it's uniform, it's behind, you never have to worry about water either. cool. So I found it easier just to take off, obviously, that whole backing, and just ran the cable through here. Again, cut the wires, spliced them right there, made them all tied. Now I'm just going to snug it up back here somewhere where it's nice and tight so it's also not loose, and that'll be it. And that's that. Fully installed. Looks great.